Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and I'm an expert in being myself. I love sharing my advice, my perspectives, my thoughts, my ideas, etc., etc. Thank you. I also like sharing my knowledge of Latin. I know, that was egregious. If I give you advice that doesn't quite fit your life, that may mean that one size definitely does not fit all. But I am dipping deep into my life and pouring out what it is I have for you, and elevating, or really majorly paying attention to, the people in my community who are asking questions of me. For example, tonight's advice stems from a question asked from Issaquah Twitch. Of course, on Twitch, where I'm streaming right now, as I do every night at 6 p.m. They wrote, "I have a question. Do you find it easy to get in front of the camera? You seem to be able to just start recording and get out all your thoughts. I seem to struggle getting all my ideas out on camera without screwing up, forgetting things, and my mind going blank." So in terms of getting in front of the camera, my number one suggestion for that is pretend like you're talking to somebody. That camera is a person. And as mentioned last night, I believe Krusty suggested that some people even put up props, like a mask or like a stand-up of a person behind the camera or next to the camera to remind them that they're talking to someone, they're intending on talking to somebody. This is some type of process that was intuitive to me. I didn't have to think about it too much. I mean, I didn't really grow up with a camera in my face. I mean, we had cameras, yes, and I knew what cameras did, but not anything like a live camera or anything where I would be able to talk and then get, immediate feedback. But I guess I intuitively just started realizing, I'm not talking to a piece of equipment. I'm talking, or intending on talking, to the ultimate target, and that ultimate target being your ears. I'm talking to you. I'm speaking directly to you. The camera is just the gateway. It's the way I'm getting to you. It's how I'm communicating. So I basically ignore the device. One of the reasons why I'm not a good producer, I ignore the devices. I don't care about the equipment. I care about the message that it is that I happen to be sending. In terms of comfort with talking, well, one of the reasons why things come naturally to me is when I'm talking about something, it's because I'm familiar with something. One of the reasons the advice videos I'm doing are squarely in my jurisdiction is because I know I can talk about them. Like, if you ask me a question that I didn't know how to answer, the last thing I want to do is just riff, especially if you're asking for my advice. I'm like, well, I don't know. And if I don't know, then I don't know. I'd be interested in potentially exploring and diving a little deeper, maybe talking through a particular solution to a quandary. But generally, I'll take a question that I feel strongly that I already have the response to. So I already have those thoughts bouncing around in my head, and I know I'm talking to somebody else. So it's just like having a conversation. If someone asks you something that you are intimately familiar with, you don't necessarily need to organize your thoughts to have those thoughts or to necessarily present those thoughts, because it's just a free-flowing conversation. So if that is something that trips you up, one other suggestion I might have is, before you do a video or any kind of recording, is write it down. Maybe not physically, right? You could use a typewriter or a keyboard. It doesn't matter. A typewriter. Does anybody still use typewriters to jot down their thoughts? Well, this would be jotting. This would be clicking, clacking. Like the original clicky clacky. Anyway, if it helps, before you begin to speak, get yourself organized. Put yourself on the same page, if you will. And that way, you'll have a better idea about what points you want to hit. Now, some people do better just stream of consciousness, which is my style. It's always been my style. It's why I'm a horrible video producer. Absolutely rotten when it comes to doing video, especially on YouTube. I've just never been a YouTuber. I don't ever want to be one, because I'm more of a variety streamer. I'm a talker. I love talking. I'm not a speaker. I'm a talker. A conversationalist, which can be challenging when someone's not giving me immediate feedback. It's just that I assume that when I'm putting something out there, people are eventually going to listen. We're going to be able to connect. So I don't always have notes, but there are times where I know that there's a lot that I would like to cover on a certain subject and I don't want to miss anything. So even I have relied on certain notes in the past. Another thing I would suggest, I'm full of suggestions, and I know that I'm probably going to think of even more after this video is done, and of course would encourage anybody, if they had any separate suggestions, to leave a comment, because those suggestions may very well be cogent and not mutually exclusive to anything I'm laying down. Practice. You know, maybe you don't turn on the camera, but you talk to the camera. Talk to it for 5 minutes. And if you feel embarrassed, wow, talk to yourself in the mirror. If you feel embarrassed, you get over it. I mean, because it's just you talking to yourself in the mirror. There's nothing embarrassing about that. Now, if you're embarrassed, when you're talking in front of other people, well, again, it may take practice. Doesn't mean you have to, be eloquent. It doesn't mean that you have to hit every point that you intended on hitting. It's just that you get more and more comfortable with it. I'm not saying I'm anywhere near skilled. Oh, look, a new YouTube video was published. Hope you remember to like it, comment, and watch it in totality. Maybe even share it with a friend. Be good if you did. It'd be helpful. Practice makes perfect. And even when you've practiced, for a year, you might do something after a year and it's not perfect. Well, you know what? There have been times with these videos that I've shot live on Twitch. Everyone thinking it was done. It was in the can. It was ready to go. And I ended up recording them not just once, but twice again, because I didn't think that I did my best. So even when I do something live and intend on clipping it out, if I feel I can do better, I push myself to do better, because again, it's practice, it's repetition. You just get used to it. But just worrying about it before actually doing it is not doing you any good. Getting embarrassed, potentially, and I'm not saying that's your situation. Some people might get a little shy. I understand. I do understand. But if it's something you want, you're telling me it's something you want. I'm not telling you to do something you don't want to do. You're asking. You're asking me this question because you struggle getting all your ideas out on camera without screwing up. So another suggestion I have is don't worry about screwing up, because it's gonna happen. I've probably screwed up like 3 times in this video. You wouldn't know it. And the reason why is because I am my own worst critic. I know YouTube comments often beg to differ. They try to be my worst critic, but there's nothing they can say that I haven't already told myself or have already sidelined in my head, because ultimately you got to plow through. I'm not trying to build a skyscraper that's going to last 1,000 years here, right? I'm just talking. I'm presenting my ideas. It's not high stress. Like, y'all aren't going to like start freaking out if I, say a word wrong or mix metaphors, which I am prone to do, or not know what I'm going to say next. I mean, is it a mistake? I guess. Was it an error? Possibly. It could be perceived that way. Did I screw it up? Oh, I do it all the time. Who cares? Because people are going to tell you you're screwing up even when you aren't. And you're going to tell yourself you're screwing up when you're not. Just do it. Stop yourself from stopping yourself. Because you got to do it. You got to do all these things. Or my suggestion would be doing all of these things, or any of these things that's going to get you to the point where you're more comfortable. Because then you're going to be able to teach me. I can still learn new things. Like, I had no idea. I didn't even think about doing that kind of thing. But I'll do that next time. That's a really good idea. I'm always up for new ideas. Even when I know as much as I might know on any particular subject, as much experience I might have accrued, that does not mean I've stopped learning. Because you can always learn more. So I wish you well. I know you can do it because it's something you want to do. I'm pointing at your comment that I can see because I copied it down. See, I'm taking notes. You think I could remember that verbatim? Oh, I couldn't do that. But I can do this. Very happy to share my advice with you, and I absolutely hope it helps. And if it doesn't, then you got to let me know why.